big question influencing the animal industry today is whether or not meat is beneficial to human health. Scientific articles are ongoingly debating and debunking one another's findings, so it is very controversial to many people. Popular press articles are infamously thought of for relaying information to give into trend followers, but may also contain factual information. Comparing and contrasting these two forums will give insight as to how the general public and scientists are viewing the health benefits and risks of meat.
So, for my part of the project, I had a popular press article. The main points of the article were the changes in meat, the different types of meat, health benefits, drawbacks to eating meat, and then the conclusion. So, to start off on changes in meat, meat is not as it used to be. Livestock used to be able to roam around and graze on whatever they wanted to, and now they've been put on a very strict regimen and are fed certain types of food, and it helps to regulate how the meat that they are going to produce turns out. So the different types of meat there's processed meat like bacon and sausage, conventional red meat like ribs or steak, and then white meats like chicken and turkey. And then on top of the different types of that meat, there's like different types of feeds that produce the different types of meat, like grass-fed, grain-fed, and corn-fed. So the health benefits for eating meat are they're very rich in vitamins and minerals, also nutrients, and a lot of people who do not eat meat are typically very low in the areas that meat supplies, so it's not easy to get these vitamins, minerals, and nutrients from other sources that are not meat. Another thing is that grass-fed is a lot healthier for you than grain-fed. The feed that you can put in to the animal makes a big difference in how the meat turns out. So some of the drawbacks to eating meat are many studies have linked processed meat leading to a high chance of cardiovascular diseases, cancer, and death. But non-processed meat, like the ribs and the steaks, do not have any information leading to the same problems. So once you get past all the scare tactics, there really isn't much compelling evidence that links non-processed meats with any diseases, cancers, or death. So the article recommends that you steer clear of processed meat and recommends eating red meat, not overloads of red meat, but eating it in moderation, and then also, if possible, to eat grass-fed meat instead of grain-fed. And then you can see from this picture that I included, you can look at the different good fat and bad fat ratios in the meats, and then the vitamins that it provides, just based on what you're feeding your animals.
This article supports the idea that for many, there is no clear right or wrong choice in regards to vegetarianism as long as individuals live a healthy lifestyle and maintain a balanced diet. The trend toward vegetarianism and veganism has been much more apparent in recent years, though. For some, this is in an effort to be more healthy. For others, it's to acknowledge animal welfare, although we've learned that animals in the production industry are still treated with the utmost care. Another interesting aspect of this article was its discussion of people who not only want to cut meat out of their diets, but those who simply want to cut down. After all, too much of a good thing can be a bad thing, which is covered in part by our scientific sources.
Holy cow, what's good for you is good for our planet by Dean Ornish. This is an article that was published in the American Medical Association Archives of Internal Medicine in 2012. And it's chocked full of information pulled and cited from other scholarly articles, one of which is Red Meat Consumption and Mortality, Results from Two Prospective Cohort Studies. This article by Dean Ornish poses the three-pronged argument validating that a reduced red meat intake is the most healthy option for the average human's diet. It states that it's better for the individual, but it's also better for the planet as well, and for our future as a species. It states that little to no red meat consumption is the optimal goal for the average human's diet, citing research showing all the associated health benefits, which will be discussed in the next slide. The author also breaks down the components of a healthy diet, stating that healthy carbs, fats, and proteins are really the compounds on which we should build our diets, and he explains more about that throughout the course of this article. So as I previously said, there's three main reasons that Dean Ornish gives us why we should reduce our red meat intake. Two of these are associated with the environment, and we'll discuss that in just a moment, but as our main focus today is the associated benefits and risks that we have whenever we consume red meat, we're going to spend most of our time there. This paper cites many research articles and studies that say that increased red meat intake has direct and detrimental effects on one's health. All the statistics of these studies can be seen above. So this reality that there are some serious medical risks that we have whenever we consume red meat should be enough to have us try to reduce our own red meat intake. And the consequences of such a wide sweeping change that if everyone in a country or in the world would reduce their red meat intake, there would be a massive change in our healthcare. One of these effects is the reduction in overall healthcare spending attributed to chronic illnesses that we would no longer have. If we had healthier diets, we would spend less on doctor's visits and surgeries from avoidable diseases. In addition to this, healthcare organizations will have less spending associated with the care for such diseases and will be able to divert those funds into non-preventable illnesses such as cancers or infectious diseases. Beyond this health aspect, we can see the other two main reasons that Dean Ornish gives us why we should reduce our red meat intake. The reduced demand for red meat livestock will greatly reduce greenhouse gas emissions such as CO2, nitrous oxide, and methane. Both nitrous oxide and methane are more damaging to the ozone than CO2, and their leading producer is the livestock industry. And also global energy consumption. So, in a way, eating less red meat is not just watching out for yourself and your own health, but it's preserving and protecting the world for future generations to come. So this picture just further elaborates on the statistic that we saw on the previous slide that if someone has little to no red meat in their diet, it leads to a 36% reduced risk in carcinogenesis, frequently known as cancer. And so we can see here that based off research done by the Cancer Research Institute of the United Kingdom, that processed meats like salami, bacon, and sausages or hot dogs have been directly correlated and proven to cause cancer. And red meats such as pork, beef, and lamb have been strongly correlated to cause cancer, although definitive proof has not been provided yet. And so statistics and studies like this should be enough to at least make us pause and think twice about the things that we're putting inside of our bodies and the effect that those have on our personal health. And no matter how delicious they could be, think about the implications and the long-lasting impacts that the things that we eat could have on our health.
According to the article, What is the Role of Meat in a Healthy Diet?, written by David Klurfeld and published in Animal Frontier, red meat is packed with nutrients that yield high amounts of protein, essential amino acids, vitamins, and minerals. These happen to be the most common vitamin and nutrient deficiencies in the world. There was a study conducted by the World Health Organization that implied that eating processed meat causes cancer. However, the observational data to support these results are weak, with a number of confounds due to multiple unmeasured factors. As well, the claim is not supported by other research that would be needed to make such a causal claim. David Klurfeld states, "It is likely that the association of red meat consumption with colon cancer is explained either by the inability of epidemiology to detect such a small risk or by combinations of other factors such as being overweight, less exercise, lower vegetable or dietary fiber intake, and perhaps other habits that differentiate those who eat the most meat from those who eat less." It is imperative for consumers of data to understand that correlation does not equal causation. A correlation only implies that there is a relationship. It does not suggest that one causes the other or vice versa. As well, a correlation does not take into account confounding variables that might impact data. In the case of red meat consumption and cancer, confound variables could be exercise or other diet details. The importance is to focus on a healthy diet and lifestyle overall. That includes the daily amount of nutrients needed, exercise, and moderation. As consumers of data, it is essential that we assess a variety of confounds when analyzing data in order to understand the overall implication of consuming red meat and decide what is best for ourselves with these findings. This graph depicts the nutritional information of consuming 100 grams of cooked, lean-only beef tenderloin. The graph shows the amount of protein, zinc, selenium, vitamin B12, and niacin that beef tenderloin provides in relation to the percent daily reference intake. Data like this is what consumers should analyze when determining their diets in order to ensure that they are maintaining a healthy diet with proper nutritional requirements.
For scientific perspectives, numbers can raise conflict by contradicting other findings. The two scientific articles that were found are on different sides of the debates. While Holy Cow, What's Good for You is Good for Our Planet believes that meat is completely unhealthy for the body and states that such nutrients acquired from it can and should be found elsewhere, the article, What is the Role of Meat in a Healthy Diet, advocates a healthy diet should include meat in moderation to gain much needed dietary requirements. Perspectives from popular press articles are similar in the fact that information can differ depending on who is given their opinion. Vegan trends have started from many factors such as wanting healthier behaviors or advocating for better animal welfare. Since non-processed food provides much of the bodily essential nutrients and there aren't many leaks from it such as processed meats, having them in moderation will be beneficial.